Mummies are supposed to be wrapped in bandages, right? Well, not this one. This mummy was wrapped in chains. And when archaeologists discovered it, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Hi, it's me and this is my channel. This is the story of the Screaming Mummy. Imagine you're an archaeologist in Egypt in 1881. You and your team have just uncovered a tomb that is filled with treasure. There are sarcophagi everywhere, each one more ornate than the last. But you're not interested in the treasures or the gold. You just want to find a mummy. In life, nothing is more terrifying than being entombed alive. So mummies would take all kinds of precautions to make sure that didn't happen. They would put seals over their mouths so they wouldn't scream when they died. They would even put rings in their noses to keep them from crying. And sometimes they would stuff their entire body in a metal suit, like a very uncomfortable Iron Man suit. These would-be cryogenically frozen mummies would then be buried deep in the desert, entombed for eternity. But there was one type of mummy that no one wanted to make, the Screaming Mummy. Some people died with such force and anguish that their bodies would contort and their mouths would stay open in a silent scream. These were the most feared mummies of all, because if their mouths were open when they were buried, they would never rest in peace. So now imagine you're that archaeologist in 1881. You've been searching for a mummy for weeks and you're about to give up hope. Then you see it, a perfectly preserved mummy with its mouth wide open, just like the legends described. Except there's something even more terrifying. The mummy isn't just preserved, it's still wearing the clothes it was buried with, and those clothes are soaked in blood. You and your team are so excited to have found the Screaming Mummy that you pose it in front of the entrance to the tomb. You might think that's a little disrespectful, but back in 1881, they didn't know any better. Now, here's where the story takes a turn. 4 months after the discovery, people reported hearing screams echoing from the desert. Some said it sounded like a woman in distress, while others said it sounded like a man in pain. And that brings us to today. There are still people who claim to hear the Screaming Mummy at night, even though it's encased in concrete and locked up tight. I don't know about you, but that's one scary mummy. If you want to hear another scary mummy story, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you next time.